Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through the latest polls that have Biden up in a few of the critical swing states. So we will get started off here with the polls from Wisconsin. So these were both Bloomberg polls, and one gave Biden a 3-point lead while the other gave Biden a 2-point lead. I think this is probably not super likely at the moment, but it's within the margin of error, so it's possible things could tilt the other way, or it's just a narrow margin. But there does, in these last few polls at least, seem to be a bit of a rebounding effect from Biden's post-debate lackluster performance. Then we get to the state of Michigan, where Biden, according to the Bloomberg polls, is up by 5 in one of them and 6 in another. So pretty great. I do not see a world where either candidate wins the state of Michigan or any swing state by 5 or 6 points, so I don't think that's completely accurate, but I could see that being a 1 or maybe even 2-point lead in those critical Rust Belt states. However, not all of these polls are good news for the Biden campaign. The last polls from Arizona have Trump up by 3 and 7 respectively. This second poll takes into effect Robert Kennedy, who's getting 9% of the vote, and seems to be taking a roughly equal share from each voter. Well, a little bit more from Biden, it looks like. But so that is some of the latest polling from Arizona. And then in Pennsylvania, the last swing state there, we have Trump up by 3 and 7. So overall, in 2 of the 3 Rust Belt swing states, Biden is performing fairly well. However, in much of the Sun Belt, and including here in Nevada, as we can see with this poll, we have Trump up by 3 and then 6. And then in North Carolina is not going in Biden's direction. It's within a few points, which is pretty good for the Biden campaign. But I do think that Trump is likely to win the state by 2 or 3 points. I think this is a realistic. I'd probably go with maybe 2 or 3, 3 points maybe for the Trump campaign. So I think this is a realistic poll. We'll have to see what ends up happening on election day, though. Then we get to Georgia. Georgia is actually a lot closer in this polling than I thought it would be. I had this as a lean Republican state, and I think I may go back or change that characterization in a future update video about the 2024 presidential election. But as we can see here, the morning consult polls, first one had Trump up by 1, next one had Trump up by 2, taking into effect all of the third-party candidates. Then we get to a couple other general election polls here from July 2nd to July 3rd and the 1st. All of these have Trump up. One of them even against Harris has Trump up by 11. Most of these are Trump versus Biden, though, and he is up by a minimum of 5 points. So I do think that these polls it's good to take each of them with a grain of salt. They're not all going to be very accurate, but it's good to kind of take those aggregations of polls and be able to use them to determine who I think will be the winner of the next presidential election. Then we can go here to the polls average. Trump is still very much the leader on average. He is ahead by about 2.3%. He's winning, as you can see here. The only candidate that was able to beat Trump is Michelle Obama, and I'm guessing she won't won. She probably would have announced by now, and I'm fairly certain it will be Biden versus Trump again. We'll have to see if that changes. It could be interesting, but all the polls here have Trump being able to have a secure victory against Biden and a variety of other Democratic candidates. We have this one here where Biden and Trump are even, but it will in a Biden versus Trump situation, which is still the most likely scenario, that is the way it would go. And then we will go to the popular polling for Joe Biden. So he is currently sitting at about a 37.1% approval rating. He's had a few ref polls there. There was one where he was down to 34 and 35%, so pretty bad approval rating. So this is definitely a beneficial factor for the Trump campaign. We can also see here of the favorable opinion of Donald Trump here. Let's check on that one. So with the polls in Trump, he has 41.7%, so still not a great approval rating, but slightly better than Biden's, which may be enough to help carry him across the finish line. Then finally, we will go with the do voters want Republicans or Democrats in Congress poll, and currently Republicans are up by about 0.3. It's very close. This latest poll with Republicans up by 4 likely swayed the odds. I don't see a world where Republicans are up by 4. I don't see a world where Democrats are up by 4. In the reality of these highly competitive elections, it's going to be a close margin either way. But that is the some of the landscape of polling put into place for the current state of the race for the 2024 presidency. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Bye.